It was a cold and cloudy afternoon in Los Angeles, the kind that made people shiver as they hurried down the street. Jackets were pulled tighter, and the usual hum of the city seemed to have a slight chill in the air. Will Smith, fresh off a meeting for his upcoming film project, stepped out of a cozy cafe, his mind buzzing with the next big steps. His thoughts were racing through the lines of dialogue, the production schedules, and the endless expectations that came with being in the spotlight. But nothing in his mind could have prepared him for what was about to unfold right before his eyes. A moment that would shake him to the core and forever alter the life of an innocent child. Will paused for a second, taking in the busy scene ahead. People swirled in and out of shops, chatting, laughing, completely unaware of what was happening just a few feet away. But then, out of the corner of his eye, something caught his attention. A flash of movement. A young boy, no older than 7 or 8, was darting through the crowd, his small, bare feet slapping against the cold concrete. He was weaving in and out of pedestrians with a frantic look on his face, eyes wide, scanning the street as though he was being chased. What on earth was happening? Who was this child running from? The boy clutched a plastic bag to his chest, as if it were his most prized possession, and he was moving fast, too fast for someone so small. Will instinctively took a step forward, his curiosity piqued. But as the boy's gaze shifted towards him, his fear became even more apparent. He didn't just look afraid, he looked desperate, as though he had nowhere to go. Will's heart tightened. The child's vulnerability was clear. He had to help, but how? The boy's frantic energy left Will with more questions than answers. Why was he barefoot? Why did he look so scared? And why was he alone, with no one to help him? Without thinking, Will found himself crossing the street, the sound of his footsteps muffled by the noise of the city. He reached the boy just as he stumbled near a bench, his body trembling not just from the cold, but from what seemed like exhaustion, hunger, and fear. "Hey, buddy!" Will called out, his voice gentle but firm. The boy flinched at the sound, as though he'd been caught doing something wrong. His eyes darted to the left, then the right, still searching for a way out. "Hey, it's okay," Will continued, kneeling to meet him at eye level. "I'm Will. What's your name?" The boy's eyes flickered between Will and the bustling city around them. He seemed hesitant, but after what felt like an eternity, he whispered in a small voice. "Marcus." Will offered a soft smile. "Nice to meet you, Marcus. Where are your shoes, man?" The boy looked down at his bare, scraped feet. Will could see the bruises and cuts, evidence of days, maybe weeks, of running and surviving on the streets. His feet were raw, red from the cold. I lost them," Marcus mumbled, his voice trembling. Lost them? Will's chest tightened. 1,000 thoughts raced through his mind. How had a young boy ended up like this? Why was he out here, alone, with no one to take care of him? Where were his parents? And what was so important about that plastic bag he held onto, like it was his only lifeline? "Are you hungry?" Will asked softly, hoping to get the boy to trust him. Marcus nodded slowly, his face still clouded with uncertainty. "Come on," Will said, gently taking his hand. "Let's get you something warm to eat. We can talk there, okay?" As they walked towards a nearby diner, Will noticed the slight limp in Marcus's step. Each movement seemed to cause him pain, but he never made a sound. His grip on the plastic bag didn't loosen. Will's mind raced with questions. What kind of life had this boy lived? How could someone let a child go through this kind of suffering? They reached the diner, a small, cozy spot with a friendly atmosphere. Will led Marcus to a booth near the window and ordered hot chocolate and pancakes. The steam from the hot chocolate warmed the boy's cheeks as he took small, cautious sips. It was the first sign of relief Will had seen in the boy since their meeting. As the warmth seemed to ease the tension in Marcus's body, he started to speak, slowly at first, with a quiet voice that barely rose above a whisper. "My mom." She died a year ago, he said, his eyes lowering. Dad, he doesn't care. He never comes back anymore. His small hands gripped the edge of the table, knuckles white with the effort. I've been on my own, sleeping in alleys, finding food wherever I can. Will's heart shattered as the pieces of Marcus's story started to come together. The boy wasn't just running from hunger or cold. He was running from a life he couldn't control. But there was something else, something that Will couldn't yet understand. The plastic bag. What was inside? Marcus looked down at the bag, clutching it tighter. Will's curiosity couldn't wait any longer. What's in there, Marcus? He asked gently. Marcus hesitated, his lips trembling. It's my mom's gloves, the last thing I have of her. He unzipped the bag slowly, revealing a pair of worn, faded gloves, simple but cherished. The boy's eyes filled with tears. I can't lose them, he whispered, his voice cracking. She's all I have left. Will felt a lump form in his throat. This child, this tiny hurting soul, had been clinging to the only piece of love he had left. And here Will was, a stranger, suddenly responsible for changing the course of his life. You don't have to be alone anymore, Will said firmly, reaching across the table to gently pat Marcus's hand. We're going to get you help, starting right now. But what happened next took the situation to a whole new level, something Will hadn't expected and could never have predicted. After a call to his assistant to find a safe shelter for Marcus, Will learned that Marcus's story didn't just stop with neglect. It was far darker, far more dangerous. The boy wasn't just running from the streets. He was running from his father, a man wanted for child neglect and abuse. The revelation sent a chill down Will's spine. Marcus had been surviving not just against poverty, but against a man who should have been protecting him. Will's protective instincts surged. He couldn't let Marcus return to that dangerous environment, not when he had the power to make sure that didn't happen. With swift action, Will arranged for Marcus to be placed in a secure foster home. He personally covered the costs for the first few months, ensuring Marcus had the safety and care he deserved. But Will didn't stop there. He made sure the boy received therapy, schooling, and even bought him a new pair of shoes, bright red sneakers that Marcus picked out himself. The smile on Marcus's face when he saw those sneakers for the first time was enough to make Will's heart swell with hope. Months later, when Marcus stood at the gates of his new school, wearing those red sneakers and carrying a backpack filled with supplies that Will had bought for him, something extraordinary happened. Marcus turned around, looked at Will standing a few feet away, and said the words that would stay with Will forever. You saved me. Will smiled, but it wasn't just a smile of relief. It was the smile of a man who knew he had done more than save a child's life. He had given him a future, a chance to believe in the kindness of strangers, in the power of second chances. And here's the part no one saw coming. Marcus's story didn't just change his life. It sparked something even bigger, a movement. Will shared their journey on social media, not for accolades, but to shed light on the children who slipped through society's cracks. Donations poured in, shelters expanded. Children who had once been ignored now had a voice. And it all started with one man stopping to ask a question. What's your name? So the next time you see someone in need, remember Marcus. You may not be a celebrity, but you have the power to change someone's life. Sometimes, all it takes is a simple act of kindness, a simple question. What's your name? This brings us to the end of this story. Thank you for watching till the end. I hope you enjoyed the story. If you did, don't hesitate to like the video and share it with your friends. 2. Subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell for more fascinating stories. Have a nice day.